Welcome back to Sawtooth Tactical. Today I'm very excited to bring you the start of the next build series. So if you've been following the channel, you know that I just recently finished this build. Aero Precision EPC9 pistol caliber carbine, and I am very happy with it. But once you finish one, it's time to start another one. But before we get started, I just want to thank everyone that's subscribed to the channel, thank our Patreons, and I want to thank Guffey's Gun and Pawn, which is where all of this stuff comes from, and which is where I got my new lower receiver from. In fact, when I picked this up, they even threw in a couple of stripper clips of 5.56 and some other stuff just because they're good guys. So thank you, Guffey's. So let's get started. As I was just saying, I just recently built this Aero Precision EPC9 because I really wanted a pistol caliber carbine, and after doing a ton of research, the EPC9 looked like a great group of parts, and it has turned out to be. I'm very happy with it. Thing runs perfectly, and it's just a fantastic build. And my local gun store carries a lot of Aero Precision parts, so I figured to start the next build, might as well go with the same thing. I really like their M4E1 stuff, better than their Gen 2. It just looks better. And so we're going to go over a little bit of just lower receivers in general, but specifically this M4E1 lower. So lower receivers generally come in two different kinds. You've got forged and you've got billet. Forged is definitely stronger, and that's what the lowers are on both of these AR-15s. But generally, they all kind of look the same. With billet, you get some better looks and usually some better features. It's not quite as strong, but it's perfectly strong enough. The cool thing about the Aero Precision M4E1 is that it's a forged receiver, but it's kind of got some billet looks and features, which is really cool. So we're going to go over those looks and features. We're going to go up close in a second. And we're also going to kind of compare it to a standard forged lower. So let's check it out. So this is actually a special edition lower. It's an Aero Precision join or die, but it's I really wanted an M4E1 lower, and I wanted it in flat dark earth because I've got a lot of black guns, and I wanted to do something a little bit different. So, as far as I could tell, the only thing that makes it special edition is this snake on the magazine well, but looks pretty cool, and it is the M4E1 lower in flat dark earth, which is what I wanted. You do get a join or die patch with it, which is kind of cool. I'll have to put it on something, my range bag, I guess, and of course the Aero Precision sticker. But let's see what you get with this lower that's really cool. For one, you get a really nice flared mag well. But besides that, you get some features that make it just a lot easier to put together than your standard forged lower. The trigger guard is integrated, which is really nice because then you don't have those tabs that you have to hammer a pin into and then knock with a punch and possibly damage or bend. Another thing that they do that's really nice is a threaded pin here for your bolt catch bolt release. And that's for the same reason. You don't have to hammer a roll pin in and use a punch and possibly scratch up your receiver before you've ever even got to shoot the gun. Besides that, this is also threaded, and it takes a little set screw that holds in your detent for the rear takedown pin. Just another thing that makes assembly that much easier. But besides that, it is forged 7071 T6 aluminum, Cerakoted flat dark earth. It's got the engravings here for safe and fire, and they are set up for a 45 or a 90 degree throw, which is really nice. I do feel like I want to build this one out a little more mid-tier with nicer parts and stuff than what I've generally used in the past, so we might try out a 45 degree throw safety on this one. We'll see how it goes. But now let's compare this to your standard forged receiver. So this is a very typical forged AR-15 lower receiver. Now this is the one on my 11.5-inch AR pistol. It's a Palmetto State Armory lower, and it's been just fine. But as you can see, standard roll pin for your bolt catch release. You can't see it under the end plate here, but it does not have a threaded hole for your takedown pin detent. And the magwell, while slightly flared, is nowhere near as flared as this, which will make for very easy reloads in my new build. Also, it has to use a standard trigger guard, which takes, again, those roll pins. Now, there's nothing wrong with a lower receiver like this, and it has worked perfectly fine for me. Everything is in spec, all the parts fit in it perfectly, no issues there. But you've got to admit that this does just look better. It looks better, and those features that I've talked about do make it easier to assemble. So those are some of the reasons why I went with the M4E1. Other reason was they had it in stock. In fact, this was the only one that they had, and it was pretty much exactly what I was looking for. Now let's talk about the build. So in the process of building my EPC9, I found that I really enjoy building firearms. Building AR-15 specifically, it's almost as fun as it is to shoot them, to put them together, to find all the parts that you want, to put it together, and it's really satisfying when you've got it all done and you go to the range and the gun that you built yourself runs reliably and safely and doesn't blow up. So I kind of got bit by the builder's bug and wanted to build another AR-15. I already have two of them in 5.56. I've got a 16-inch rifle with an LPVO on it, and I've got an 11.5-inch pistol, which, you know, is kind of my home defense AR. But this one might be the new home defense AR. I don't have a 300 Blackout, and I don't have a suppressor. So I really want to build a reliable 300 Blackout that I can run suppressed with both supersonic and subsonic ammo. And that's the plan for this build. I'm going to do a flat dark earth lower and upper, flat dark earth handguard. I think the plan is to use the M4E1 upper and the Atlas R1 handguard that I've used on two of my other ARs so far. I do want to use more higher end mid-tier parts for as much of the build as I can afford to, and this build might take a little while. This might be, you know, one part per paycheck until it's all done, and especially with that suppressor. But when it's done, I'm hoping to have a good, reliable, suppressed, quiet 300 Blackout, which is something I don't have right now. So I'm really excited to get it started. I hope you guys are excited to follow along in the build series. We'll do it kind of just like we did with the EPC9 series, where each time I get something new put together on it, we'll do a little video and you guys can follow along, hopefully learn something, and hopefully be entertained and enjoy it. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Trying to keep it a little bit short, but I hope you see what the benefits are to the M4E1 versus a standard lower. I'm really excited to get this build going. Please check out my Amazon affiliate account down below. I'll link to some AR-15 kind of build parts or accessories, something like that, because you know that after you're done building, you gotta accessorize. In fact, I'll link to the light that I just put on my new AR-9 build. But anything you click on, anything you buy after using my link within the next 24 hours gives my channel a little kickback. Doesn't cost you anything extra, helps me out a ton. I'm also going to have a link to my Patreon down below. In the Patreon, you'll have access to every video that I've ever done. That is the easiest way to support the channel. From Sawtooth Tactical, stay strapped or get clapped.